So I don't like to see a lot of hinge when the club's moving from the ball to my trail leg. So this right here, I'm setting width in right here. Where I see a lot of people get in trouble is they get this look, and then when they start to turn, the mass of the club's too close to them, and then the arms never stop moving. It just, honestly, it gets the arms and the hands moving at way too early and too high of a rate, and the body can never catch up.
From there, that's the point in time where we'll start to kind of throw a little bit of the hinging in?
Absolutely. This is where we'll start hinging this to what I would say parallel to target line would be.
Okay.
So I'm transferring the club from here, moving the direction of my trail hand. So this is where my wrist is going to start transferring the weight of the club to here, while I'm keeping the club face square to what my spine inclination would be.
Try putting that stick on and getting the hands outside the thigh while that stays on first things first. If you do that, the rest of this stuff gets a whole lot easier.
This gets night and day easier.
Oh, when you demonstrate, I'm like, oh my gosh, everyone needs that. Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about the hanger training aid. I absolutely love this. I firmly believe that this is good for every single golfer. This hanger here creates and controls what I think is the most important part of the swing, which is the wrist angle. It snaps right on. It takes me probably 30 seconds to put on. I can put it right in my golf bag, and best of all is you can hit balls with it. You can actually hit balls with it. So I love this hanger training aids. Look at when I do that well, how that sits on my forearm. Now watch when I cut my wrist, how that comes off. Immediate feedback for where my wrist angle's at. No one that can have too flat of a left wrist. One of the few things that all good ball strikers have, we're trying to have. Flat left wrist, right? Super easy to use, incredible immediate feedback with the coupon code GogornoGolf.com. You're gonna absolutely love it. We'll put all the details down in the description down below. All right guys, in today's video, we're talking about when and how to hinge the golf club correctly. Back out here with Mr. Trevor Salzman, and we're gonna give you a couple key checkpoints in terms of the when to hinge, key points that you wanna check to do. We're gonna give you key feels, how you actually do the hinging, as well as a couple little drills and takeaway feels to make sure you have things in place to set your golf swing up to make the easiest downswing possible, really.
Absolutely.
And so Trevor, I've seen you in your videos, if you can guide us through a couple of the checkpoints you use along the way.
Absolutely.
With the when part.
So the very first thing that I like to see in a takeaway is like we all refer to it. We refer to it as a one-piece takeaway. So I don't like to see a lot of hinge when the club's moving from the ball to my trail leg. So this right here, I'm setting width in right here. Where I see a lot of people get in trouble is they get this look, and then when they start to turn, the mass of the club's too close to them, and then the arms never stop moving. It just, honestly, it gets the arms and the hands moving at way too early and too high of a rate, and the body can never catch up. That's why the takeaway is so important.
Yeah, got it. And so you like to see the takeaway where not a lot of hinging until the hands get past the thigh. And it's almost, if you do the bad version again, when you do the bad version, it's like the butt of the club didn't get anywhere.
Yep.
And the club moved 4 feet.
100%.
And if we do the good way, I like to show people, it's like when we do the good way, okay, well the butt of the club and the club head almost moved about the same distance.
Absolutely.
Now, let's say they do that piece correct and they're
Yep.
getting to that thigh. Is there kind of a key, I'm gonna take off script here a little bit, but are you feeling that there's a little bit of chest and shoulder rotation to guide that?
Absolutely. The only way that the arms can actually stay straight is when they're in front of the chest. The chest has to be moving. The chest and the core have to be moving for the arms to create width. Otherwise, we're left with this.
So the chest and the shoulders, kind of the core motion is the piece that are guiding the hands to get by the thigh.
Correct.
Once we get to that position.
Yeah, so this is the body that's taking this to here. My arms and my hands, they haven't moved yet.
They're doing very little.
They're very little. They're hanging onto the golf club and stabilizing it.
And then from there, that's the point in time where we'll start to kind of throw a little bit of the hinging in?
Absolutely. This is where we'll start hinging this to what I would say parallel to target line would be.
Okay.
So I'm transferring the club from here, moving the direction of my trail hand. So this is where my wrist is going to start transferring the weight of the club to here, while I'm keeping the club face square to what my spine inclination would be.
So let's do that again, Trevor. So as we're feeling this, the piece you're monitoring is, we look at this leading edge right there. Okay, same as kind of back line.
Correct. That would be square to what my back line would be.
Now, as we're at that point, are you feeling like you're getting from 0 to there? I know we said the chest and shoulders are kind of guiding that motion, but before the hinging kicks in, let's say with the right hand, or maybe as you're doing the right hand, there are some little kind of key pressure points with the lead hand that help guide that as well?
Yeah, I would say the pressure points start out in the last 3 fingers of your left hand.
Okay.
So this is where I can secure this right here. So I'm basically taking the last 3 fingers of my left hand are moving to here, and then what I'm doing is I'm transferring that pressure into the last 3 fingers on my trail hand right there.
And you had like your like index finger and thumb all, that just helps feel that.
Absolutely, like I could do this without that on there. I could do that without my index finger and my thumb on there, and now I'm transferring it this direction.
And when you're doing the transfer part with your trail wrist, right? Let's say the lead hand and the fingers are kind of controlling it, the chest and shoulders are moving a little bit. How does that trail hand hinging?
So this is actually hinging into the strongest direction that my wrist can move into. So this would be what we would refer to as extension, or it'd be like doing a kettlebell press. Like this is a very strong position for the trail wrist to be into, okay? We want this to support the mass of this golf club when it's moving, especially at its highest speed right there.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, so that right wrist is sort of hinging back as that lead hand, or sort of hinging up a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm here and I'm starting to move this into a form of extension as I'm getting the club parallel to target line, parallel to the ground, and I'm keeping the club face square to what my back line would be.
And then let's say from there to, let's say we get to like P3, what would be the next checkpoint?
So my next checkpoint is that the butt end of the club is pointed at ball line or inside of it. That is my next checkpoint that I would say that is super important, is getting that club, the butt end of it, to point at ball line. I'm even okay if it's inside ball line. Where I don't like to see it is when it starts to roll outside of ball line.
And I know obviously we're breaking this down, right, for key checkpoints and feels and stuff. This would be like one fluid motion going on. We're hitting these checkpoints in motion, but Trevor, if you could show us the stick on the side just for to start to get some of the feels. Trevor has shown this in a couple of the videos for how to practice this, and I really, really like this one.
So what I really like about using the stick on the side is it gives me a feel reference initially when I'm starting, and then it starts to give me a visual reference for when I'm moving this or I'm working on how I'm going to set up my backswing. So when I rest this on my lead side, so this is right on my oblique, just below my rib cage.
And this is just like an alignment rod on the side of the club?
Yeah, this is just an alignment rod on the side of the club, and I'm running it just above where the grip would be.
Okay.
So this would be here. So as I'm turning this away right there, this alignment rod is still on my side. This is making sure that I'm turning with it. If I just move my arms initially, that's going to disconnect right there. Now when I start to turn, now this club's so far inside, guess where we're gonna probably be next? Now we're into over the top land.
And guys, that first part, like 98 out of 100 people that we both work with, I'm sure, we need to get that first part right to set up the other pieces. Like try putting that stick on and getting the hands outside the thigh while that stays on first things first. If you do that, the rest of this stuff gets a whole lot easier.
This gets night and day
Oh,
easier.
when you demonstrate, I'm like, oh my gosh, everyone needs that. Now from here, then you would point the stick, what,
There would be parallel.
Okay.
And then I would start to hinge this inside ball line as I'm moving this up to P3.
I mean, that is a perfect hinge timing and how to do it.
Very simplistic too.
The last 3 fingers, the lead wrist is hinging up as the trail wrist is hinging back. Now, I mean, gosh, that first part's so important. They keep the stick on in that first part of the takeaway. We both see, I'm sure if I grab this, we both see players when they do that who have issues when they try to add hinge, the face ends up getting too open.
Correct.
And so I know we talked about, hey, let's keep the leading edge the same as the back line, keep the face square early, but are there any other little drills or feels that we can add in with that to make sure the face stays square?
So a very simplistic way that I do this is I've got an extra glove in my pocket, and I've got a tee, so if I grab this.
It's as if we knew we were gonna do this.
It's as if we knew we were gonna do this. So what we would do is I've punched a hole in my old range glove right here, and I'm gonna put a tee.
So you just put it right in the, okay.
Yep,
okay.
So I just took an alignment stick, jammed it through the logo of the glove right there, and I'm gonna put this on here. So when I'm doing this, I can even do this with the stick on right here. So when I put this on my side, so we can see the tee right here is pointed away from me. It's pointed closer to.
I did it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so when this is right here, and I start to swing this back in one piece, this is going to point that direction. Here's a neat thing. If I go into extension early and I open the face, this is also going to leave my side right there. So this is one of the reasons why people mess this up. They mess the face up, they get the arms and the hands moving faster, and so this is a really good relationship that you can use, one, to keep the club face square, but two, keep your takeaway moving in one piece. Then when we start to hinge, we're going to keep this tee pointed away from our body. If I go towards my body, club face opens. If I keep the tee away from me, pointed this direction, that club face is going to stay square as I'm transferring it at the direction of where my trail hand would be.
Dude, I think that is such a good hinge takeaway backswing video and drills and feels for you guys to use. If you make a backswing where the club stays on plane, the club face stays square, and your arms and body are moving together, all of the downswing, the transition, the on plane, the compression, the rotation, the distance, the this, the that, get a lot easier. If you don't do those correctly, you can still make up for it. It's just a whole heck of a lot harder. So in terms of investing time, I would check these pieces first. I would get that stick on the side first, get that club face control first. I think that was beautifully done.
Absolutely.
How to hinge the club, when to hinge it, how to hinge it. Hopefully that helps you guys. Leave any comments down below with any questions, like the video, all that stuff. Trevor's info is gonna be down below if you want some in-person or online lessons, learn how to hinge correctly, get this tee drill going.
Absolutely.
Come see Trevor, we'll leave that down below. Thank you guys for watching.